I'm Amelia, and I'm about to turn 21. Right now, I'm neck deep in summer classes in the management department of my college. It's a grind, but I'm pushing through it. My birthday is coming up right after finals, and I'm supposed to celebrate it at home with my family. Sounds nice, right? Well, not exactly. See, I've never been the favorite child. That title belongs to my older sister, Emma. She's 26 and the apple of my parents' eyes. Me? I'm just there. They feed me, clothe me, but that's about it. Love? That's in short supply when it comes to me. I never understood why. I tried to be a good kid, studied hard, stayed out of trouble, but nothing seemed to be enough. It was always Emma this and Emma that. She could do no wrong in their eyes. So when my grandfather, Mom's dad, decided to throw me a birthday bash and handed over a few $1,000 for it, I was over the moon. Finally, something just for me. But my parents? They barely reacted, just took the money and said they'd handle everything. You focus on your exams, Amelia, Mom said, not even looking at me. Don't get too excited. It's just a birthday. I bit my lip and headed to my room. Just a birthday. To me, it was so much more. It was a chance to feel special. Little did I know, my sister Emma had overheard everything, and she wasn't happy. What the hell? I heard her screech from the living room. Why does she get a party? I could use that money for my trip. I pressed my ear against the door, heart pounding. Emma, honey, calm down, Mom soothed. It's your grandfather's money. He wanted to do this for Amelia. But it's not fair, Emma whined. I'm the one who needs it. Then I heard my grandfather's voice. I didn't even know he was still there. That's enough, Emma, he said firmly. Everyone spoils you as it is, or have you forgotten the $10 grand I gave you for your business? The one you never started. Silence. Then the sound of stomping feet and a door slamming. I flopped onto my bed, a mix of emotions swirling inside me. For once, someone was on my side. But I knew this was far from over. Emma always got her way, one way or another. The next few weeks flew by in a blur of textbooks, caffeine, and late-night study sessions. I barely had time to think about my upcoming birthday, let alone get excited about it. But every now and then, when I was knee-deep in management theories, a little spark of joy would flicker in my chest. Finally, the day of my last exam arrived. I stumbled out of the lecture hall, brain-fried but relieved it was over. I'd made it, and now it was time to celebrate. My phone buzzed with messages from my college friends. Happy birthday, Amelia. Read one. Can't wait for your party, said another. I smiled, a warm feeling spreading through me. I hadn't had many friends growing up, always the odd one out, always in Emma's shadow. But here at college, I'd found my people. They saw me for who I was, not as Emma's little sister or the family disappointment. I rushed back to my dorm, threw some clothes into a backpack, and headed home. The whole way there, I was jittery with anticipation. Would there be balloons? A cake? As I approached our house, I frowned. It was eerily quiet. No cars parked outside, no sounds of celebration. Maybe they're trying to surprise me, I thought, clinging to hope. I opened the door. Hello, I'm home. Silence. The house was dark, no decorations in sight. My heart sank. Mom appeared from the kitchen, looking annoyed. Oh, Amelia, you're back. Yeah, I said, looking around. Where is everyone? Where's the party? Dad walked in, barely glancing at me. Party? What party? I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My birthday party. The one Grandpa gave you money for. Mom and Dad exchanged a look. Oh, that, Mom said dismissively. We decided not to do that. We gave the money to Emma for her trip instead. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. You what? Emma needed it more, Dad shrugged. She's in Las Vegas with her friends now. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. But it was my birthday money. Grandpa gave it to you for my party. Don't raise your voice, young lady, Mom snapped. What's done is done. You should be happy for your sister. Happy? I felt like screaming. What about all the relatives I invited? My friends? We called them, Dad said. Told them you were having problems at college and the party was canceled. I stood there, shock giving way to anger. You lied to everyone about me. Watch your tone, Mom warned. You should be grateful we didn't tell them the truth, that you're not worth celebrating. Her words hit me like a slap. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not in front of them. How could you do this to me? I choked out. Dad stepped forward, his face hard. That's enough, Amelia. Go to your room and cool off, and don't even think about calling your grandfather to complain. I opened my mouth to argue, but the look in his eyes made me think better of it. I turned and ran up the stairs, slamming my door behind me. I don't know how long I lay there, crying into my pillow. It could have been minutes or hours. The sun was setting when I heard a commotion downstairs. A familiar voice cut through my fog of misery. Where's the party? I heard Grandpa demand. Where's Amelia? As I crept down the stairs, I heard my parents stammering excuses. I stepped into the living room. I'm here, Grandpa. His eyes softened when he saw me, then hardened again as he took in my tear-stained face. What's going on here? Before my parents could speak, I blurted out everything. The canceled party, the lies, the money given to Emma. With each word, Grandpa's face grew darker. When I finished, he turned to my parents, his voice cold. Is this true? They didn't answer, but their silence was enough. Amelia, Grandpa said, not taking his eyes off my parents, go pack your things. You're coming with me. I didn't need to be told twice. I raced upstairs, threw some clothes into my bag, and was back down in record time. Grandpa put his arm around me and led me out. As we got into his car, I saw my parents watching from the window. They looked annoyed. Not sad, not regretful, just annoyed. We drove in silence for a while. Then Grandpa spoke. I'm sorry, Amelia. You didn't deserve that. Why do they hate me so much, Grandpa? I asked, my voice small. He sighed heavily. It's a long story, kiddo. One I think you're old enough to hear now. We pulled up to his house, a beautiful old Victorian that had always felt more like home than my parents' place. Inside, Grandpa made a few calls, and soon delicious smells were wafting from the kitchen as delivery after delivery arrived. As we sat down to our impromptu birthday feast, I couldn't help but smile. Thanks, Grandpa. This means a lot. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You deserve it, Amelia. Now, I think it's time you knew the truth. I swallowed hard. About why they don't love me? Grandpa nodded, his eyes sad. Your parents. They'd never wanted you to be born. The words hit me like a physical blow. I'd always felt unwanted. But to hear it confirmed, Emma was enough for them, Grandpa continued. But I wanted another grandchild. I persuaded them, promised them money if they had another baby. I felt numb, so I was bought. "No, no," Grandpa said quickly. "You were wanted by me. Your mother's pregnancy was difficult. She was bedridden for months, cursing your existence. The birth, it nearly killed her." "What do I do now?" I whispered. Grandpa smiled, a glint in his eye. Now, you celebrate your birthday. You enjoy being young, and you let me handle the rest." As I watched, he pulled out his phone and made a call. "Yes, I need to place a hold on an account. Yes, and a credit card too." I raised an eyebrow, and Grandpa winked at me. "Happy birthday, Amelia," he said. "Things are about to change." As I dug into my birthday cake, I felt a mix of emotions. Sadness, anger, but also hope. For the first time in my life, I felt like someone was truly on my side. I woke up the next morning in Grandpa's guest room, feeling oddly light for the first time in years. I didn't have to face my family's indifference. It was just me and Grandpa. We spent the next few hours together, and it was amazing. We went fishing at his favorite spot, a quiet lake where time seemed to stand still. I had never been fishing before. My dad always took Emma, never me. But Grandpa was patient, showing me how to bait the hook and cast the line. Reality couldn't be held at bay forever. On the second day, as we were having breakfast, Grandpa's phone rang. He looked at the screen and sighed. "It's your sister," he said, putting it on speaker. Emma's voice filled the kitchen, shrill and angry. "Grandpa, why is my card blocked? I'm stranded in Vegas." Grandpa remained calm. "Hello, Emma. I think you know why." "Is this about Amelia's stupid birthday?" Emma screeched. "Come on, she doesn't need a party. I needed this trip." I flinched at her words, but Grandpa's face hardened. "Emma," he said firmly, "your behavior is out of bounds. You should be ashamed." There was a pause, then Emma's voice came back, dripping with venom. "Ashamed? You're the one who should be ashamed, you crazy old man. You're way past your expiration date. Why don't you just drop dead already?" I gasped, but Grandpa didn't even flinch. "I'll remember that, Emma," he said quietly, and hung up. Before I could ask what he meant, his phone rang again. This time, it was my parents. Grandpa put it on speaker again. Mom's voice filled the room, shrill and demanding. "Dad, what the hell do you think you're doing? Unlock our account right now, and Emma's card." Dad chimed in. "She's stuck in Vegas because of you." Grandpa's voice was steely. "Because of me? I think you two need to take a long, hard look in the mirror. What you did to Amelia was unforgivable." "Oh, for God's sake," Mom snapped. "It was just a birthday. She'll get over it." I felt like I had been slapped. Grandpa's face darkened. "That's enough," he said. "You two brought this on yourselves. I suggest you start figuring out how to provide for yourselves." "What's that supposed to mean?" Mom demanded. "It means," Grandpa said, "that the bank of Dad is closed indefinitely." He hung up before they could respond. Then he turned to me, his eyes soft. "Come on, let's go for a drive. I think we both need some fresh air." As we drove through the countryside, windows down and music playing, I felt a weight lifting off my shoulders. For the first time in my life, I felt free. Free from expectations I could never meet, free from the constant disappointment. The days I spent with Grandpa were like a breath of fresh air. We ordered pizza, my favorite toppings, of course, and binge-watched old movies. But all good things must come to an end. After a few days, it was time for me to return to my dorm. As Grandpa dropped me off, he gave me a tight hug. "Remember, Amelia, you're stronger than you know." I watched his car disappear around the corner, taking a deep breath to face my new reality. Little did I know, the drama was far from over. It started with a barrage of calls and text messages from my parents and Emma. At first, I ignored them, but they were relentless. Finally, I picked up. Amelia. Mom's shrill voice came through. You need to talk to your grandfather right now. Tell him to give us back our allowance and unlock our cards. Took a deep breath. That's between you and Grandpa. I'm not getting involved. Don't you dare take that tone with me. Mom snapped. After everything we've done for you? Done for me? I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Like canceling my birthday party and giving my money to Emma. Dad's voice came on the line. Amelia, you're being unreasonable. We need that money. And I needed parents who cared about me. I shot back. Guess we can't all get what we want. There was a moment of stunned silence, then Mom's voice, cold as ice. You ungrateful little trash. I should have had an abortion when I had the chance. I wish I'd never given birth to you. The words hit me like a physical blow. With shaking hands, I ended the call and blocked their numbers. Tears streamed down my face as I sat on my bed, their words echoing in my head. Months passed. I threw myself into my studies, trying to forget, but life had other plans. One afternoon, as I was leaving campus, I heard familiar voices. Emma's friends, the same ones she went to Las Vegas with. On my money. My heart started racing. Well, if it isn't little Amelia, sneered one of the girls. Not so high and mighty now, are you? I tried to walk past them, but they surrounded me, hurling insults. Trash. Bastard. Family wrecker. Their words cut deep. Suddenly, one of the guys, Emma's boyfriend, I think, stepped forward and shoved me hard. I stumbled back, shocked. Hey, a voice called out. Leave her alone. I looked up to see a guy from a neighboring class striding towards us, looking furious. He wasn't alone. A few other guys were with him. Mind your own business, Emma's boyfriend snarled. But they weren't backing down. I said, leave her alone, the guy repeated, his voice steely. Emma's friends looked around nervously, clearly outnumbered. Without another word, they turned and quickly walked away. As they disappeared, the guy turned to me. You okay? I nodded, still shaken. Yeah, thanks. You didn't have to do that. He shrugged, a small smile on his face. No one deserves to be treated like that. I'm Jake, by the way. A few days after the incident with Emma's friends, I was heading to my favorite cafe after lectures. It was a small, cozy place just off campus where I liked to unwind and catch up on reading. As I approached, my heart sank. There they were again. Emma's friends lurking near the entrance. I hesitated, wondering if I should turn back, but before I could decide, I heard a familiar voice. Amelia, hey, wait up. It was Jake, the guy who'd helped me out before. He jogged up, grinning. Fancy meeting you here. I smiled back, relief washing over me. Hey, Jake. I was just going to the cave. He finished, then glanced at Emma's friends. His expression hardened slightly. Mind if I join you? As we walked past the group, they glared but didn't approach. Once inside, Jake turned to me with a mischievous glint in his eye. You know, he said, I'm starting to think you might need a personal bodyguard. I couldn't help but laugh. Oh, really? And I suppose you're offering your services. He placed a hand over his heart dramatically. It would be my honor, my lady. We both burst out laughing. It felt good to joke about it, to not let fear control me. Well then, I said, playing along, I accept your offer, brave sir. What I didn't expect was for Jake to take the joke seriously. Over the next few weeks, he seemed to be everywhere, walking me to classes, meeting me after lectures, even showing up at the library when I was studying late. At first, I thought it was just coincidence, but then one day, as we were leaving the cafe, he turned to me with a slightly nervous smile. "So, Amelia," he said, rubbing the back of his neck, "I was wondering, would you like to go on a date with me? I mean, a real one, not just me following you around campus like a lost puppy." I felt a flutter in my stomach. Was this really happening? Of course, I agreed. Later that evening, my phone rang. An unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. "Amelia?" It was Mom's voice. My stomach dropped. "Listen to me. You need to talk to your grandfather about the will. Make him change his mind, or we'll have no choice but to disown you. Do you understand?" I felt like I'd been dunked in ice water. "Will? What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb," Mom hissed. "You know very well what I'm talking about. Your grandfather's will. He's leaving everything to you, cutting us out completely. You need to fix this, Amelia. We're your parents. You owe us." I was stunned. This was the first I'd heard about any will. "Mom, I honestly don't know anything about a will, and even if I did, I wouldn't." "You ungrateful little," she started, but I cut her off. "Goodbye, Mom," I said and hung up. I sat on my bed, my mind reeling. A will? Grandpa leaving everything to me? It couldn't be true, could it? The week crawled by, my mother's words echoing in my head. By the time the weekend arrived, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed answers. I took the bus to Grandpa's house, my stomach in knots the entire way. As I walked up the familiar path to his front door, I tried to calm my racing thoughts. Grandpa opened the door before I could even knock, his face lighting up at the sight of me. Once inside, settled in his cozy living room with a cup of tea, I took a deep breath. "Grandpa, I need to ask you something." Mom called me. She mentioned something about your will. "It's true," he nodded slowly. "Yes, Amelia, it's true. I've made a will, and in it, I'd left all my property and the company to you. I felt like the wind had been knocked out of me. But why? What about Mom and Dad and Emma?" Grandpa leaned forward, his eyes earnest. "I've left them the house they're living in, but Emma, she gets nothing." "Grandpa," I exclaimed, shocked. He held up a hand. "Let me explain, Amelia. I've watched you all grow up. I've seen the potential in you, the drive, the intelligence. You have what it takes to continue my business, to make it flourish. Your parents and Emma, they'd spend it all in no time." I sat there, stunned. Grandpa continued, his voice softening. "After I'm gone, you'll have the right to do whatever you want with the property and money. If you want to help your parents and Emma, if they change their ways, I won't object. It'll be your decision to make. But let's keep that part between us, shall we? If they knew, they might start pretending to love you just to get their hands on the money. This way, you can see their true colors and make an informed decision." Overwhelmed with emotion, I lunged at him, wrapping him in a tight hug. My mind was reeling. This was more than just an inheritance. It was a chance to prove myself, to build something meaningful. But it was also a huge responsibility. The months flew by in a whirlwind of activity. I threw myself into my studies with renewed vigor, determined to make the most of the opportunity my grandfather had given me. My days were packed with classes, study sessions, and internship hours at Grandpa's company. The internship was challenging but exhilarating. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was exactly where I was meant to be. The employees were welcoming, always ready to answer my questions and show me the ropes. I soaked up knowledge like a sponge, from finance to operations to marketing, every day. I understood a little more about why Grandpa had chosen me to carry on his legacy. "You're a natural, Amelia," Mr. Johnson, the head of marketing, told me one day. "Your grandfather must be proud." I beamed at his words, feeling warmth spread through my chest. Yes, Grandpa was proud. I could see it in his eyes every time I shared a new idea or solved a problem at work. Meanwhile, life at college had taken an unexpected turn for the better. Jake, the guy who had stood up for me against Emma's friends, had become a constant in my life. Our first date led to a second, then a third, and before I knew it, we were officially a couple. Jake was everything I'd never known I needed, kind, supportive, and always ready with a joke to make me laugh. He didn't care about my family drama or my newfound inheritance. To him, I was just Amelia, and that was more than enough. "You know," he said one evening as we were walking hand in hand through the campus, "I never thought I'd be dating a future CEO." I playfully swatted his arm. "Stop it. I'm not a CEO yet." "Yet," he emphasized with a grin, "but you will be, and I'll be right here cheering you on." I squeezed his hand, grateful for his unwavering support. As for my family, I kept tabs on them through social media. It was strange seeing their lives unfold from a distance. Emma had finally gotten a job at a local boutique, her posts full of complaints about difficult customers and long hours. Mom was working as a receptionist, while Dad had taken up a position as a middle school teacher. Part of me felt guilty, knowing I could ease their financial troubles with a single phone call to Grandpa. But then I'd remember all the years of neglect, the harsh words, the cancelled birthday party. No, I decided they needed to learn this lesson the hard way. One sunny Saturday, I decided it was time for Jake to meet Grandpa. I was nervous. Grandpa's opinion meant the world to me, and I desperately wanted him to like Jake. As we pulled up to Grandpa's house, Jake squeezed my hand. "Relax, Amelia. It's going to be fine." And it was. From the moment Grandpa opened the door, he and Jake hit it off. They bonded over their shared love of classic cars, swapping stories, and laughing like old friends. As I watched them, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. This was my family now. Grandpa, who had always believed in me, Jake, who loved me for who I was, and me, finally learning to believe in myself. That night, as Jake and I were leaving, Grandpa pulled me aside for a moment. "He's a good one, Amelia," he said, nodding towards Jake. "He sees you for who you really are." I hugged him tight. "Thanks, Grandpa, for everything." As we drove back to campus, the setting sun painted the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. I couldn't help but marvel at how much my life had changed in just a few short months, from the unwanted child to the heir of a legacy, from the bullied outsider to a young woman with a bright future and a loving boyfriend.